Dubai glittered like gold under the sun. From the outside, it looked like a dream. Tall buildings touching the sky, clean roads, expensive cars, and lights that never seemed to sleep. People back home used to say, "If you reach Dubai, your life is made." I believed them too. That was why I left everything behind. My name is Daniel. I came from a small town where life was slow but honest. I had big dreams. Dreams of lifting my family out of poverty. Dreams of becoming someone important. When I got the job offer to work in Dubai, it felt like God had finally answered my prayers. But I didn't know. I was walking into a beautiful cage. Before I go deeper into my story, if you believe stories like this should be told, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam. Your support helps bring hidden truths like this to light. The day I arrived in Dubai, everything felt unreal. The airport alone looked bigger than my entire town. The air smelled different. Clean. Cold. Almost artificial. I was nervous but excited. I kept telling myself, "Daniel, this is your new beginning." At the arrival hall, a man holding a sign with my name called me over. "Daniel?" he asked. "Yes, sir," I replied quickly. "Give me your passport," he said casually, like it was nothing. I hesitated for a second. Back home, your passport was your identity. Your freedom. But I had heard people say it was normal in Dubai. So I handed it over. That was the moment I lost control of my life. Though I didn't realize it yet. They drove me far away from the shiny city I had seen in pictures. The tall buildings slowly disappeared. The roads became emptier. Then we reached a place that looked nothing like Dubai on the internet. Rows of old buildings stood in the heat. Paint was peeling off the walls. Clothes were hanging outside the windows. The air smelled heavy, sweat, dust, and something rotten. "This is your accommodation," the driver said. I looked at him, confused. "Are you sure?" He didn't answer. He just drove away. Inside, it was worse. 8 men in one small room. Bunk beds stacked like boxes. No proper ventilation. A single fan struggling to survive the heat. One man looked at me and laughed softly. "New guy?" he asked. "Yes," I replied. He shook his head slowly. "Welcome to reality." His name was Musa. He was from Nigeria, like me. But his eyes, they looked tired. Like someone who had seen too much. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the heat. Not because of the noise. But because something inside me whispered, "This is not what you came for." The next morning, we were taken to work. I was assigned as a cleaning assistant for a large commercial building. The irony hit me immediately. We cleaned luxury spaces we could never afford to enter as customers. The supervisor, a tall man with a harsh voice, gathered us. "No mistakes. No delays. No complaints," he said. "What about our contracts?" one worker asked carefully. The supervisor stared at him coldly. "If you don't like it, go back to your country." We all went silent. Because we knew the truth. We couldn't go anywhere. Our passports were gone. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The salary we were promised was not what we received. Deductions for everything: accommodation, transport, processing fees. At the end of the month, what remained was barely enough to survive. Still, we endured. Because back home, people believed we were successful. I used to send pictures, carefully taken ones. Angles that showed only the beautiful parts. I smiled in those pictures. But behind that smile was a man slowly breaking. One evening, something happened that changed everything for me. We were at a supermarket, buying food after work. I noticed a sign near the cashier. Sales representative needed. Filipinos only. Next to it, another sign. Vacancy. Indians preferred. And then I saw the one that made my chest tighten. No Africans. I stared at it for a long time. A man behind me muttered, Get used to it. I turned to him. Does nobody question this? He laughed bitterly. Who will question it? You. I didn't answer. But inside me, something started to wake up. The discrimination didn't stop there. Sometimes at work, people spoke to us like we were less than human. One day, a customer waved me over. Hey you, he said. Why do you people always smell like this? I froze. I wanted to respond. I wanted to defend myself. But Musa's voice echoed in my head. Choose your battles if you want to survive here. So I swallowed my pride and walked away. At night, the stories in the room were even heavier. Men talked about unpaid salaries. Men talked about injuries with no compensation. Men talked about friends who had been deported without warning. And then there were the whispers about visas. They banned some African countries, one man said. What do you mean banned? I asked. They just did. No explanation. People woke up one day and couldn't renew their visas. I felt a chill run down my spine. What happened to them? I asked. They went back home, Musa replied quietly. After 10, 15, even 20 years. Just like that. He nodded. Just like that. That night, I couldn't sleep again. I stared at the ceiling, my mind racing. I thought about my family. I thought about the sacrifices I had made. I thought about the dreams I came with. And for the first time, I asked myself a dangerous question. Was this all a lie? Weeks later, I decided to speak up. Not loudly, not recklessly, but carefully. I approached one of the municipality officials who came for inspection. Sir, I said, my voice shaking slightly. We are not being treated well. The accommodation is bad. The salaries. The watchman quickly interrupted me. Everything is fine here, sir. The official nodded, barely looking at me. Good, he said. And just like that, they walked away. I stood there, feeling invisible. That was the moment it hit me. Dubai only shows you what it wants you to see. The beauty, the glamour, the success stories. But behind it, there are people like us. Hidden, silenced, forgotten. That night, Musa sat beside me. You tried to speak, didn't you? He said. I nodded. He sighed. Be careful, Daniel. Why? I asked. He looked at me seriously. Because here, the truth can cost you everything. I didn't know it then, but something bigger was coming. Something that would force me to make the hardest decision of my life. To stay, or to leave everything behind. The heat that day was unbearable. It wasn't just the sun, it was the tension in the air. Something felt different the moment I woke up. Musa noticed it too. He looked at me quietly as we got ready for work. Stay calm today, he said. Why? I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Then he said softly, the supervisor is angry. Something went wrong yesterday. My chest tightened. In that place, when the supervisor was angry, someone always paid for it. When we arrived at the building, the atmosphere was already tense. Workers stood in silence. No one joked. No one smiled. Then he came. The supervisor walked in with heavy steps, his face hard, eyes scanning us like we were objects. Who cleaned the executive floor yesterday? He barked. No one spoke. My heart started pounding. Because I knew the answer. I asked a question. He shouted. Slowly, I raised my hand. I did, sir. He walked toward me slowly. Each step felt like a countdown. You, he said, looking me up and down. You think you are smart? No, sir, I replied quickly. Then why was there a complaint? He snapped. I cleaned everything, sir. Maybe. Before I could finish, he cut me off. Maybe, he repeated, his voice rising. You are telling me maybe? The other workers lowered their heads. No one wanted to be involved. He pointed toward the elevator. "Come," he ordered. I followed him, my legs feeling heavy. Inside the elevator, the silence was suffocating. When we reached the executive floor, everything looked perfect. Clean. Shiny. Exactly how I left it. He walked around, inspecting every corner like a man searching for something to destroy. Then he stopped. A small stain, barely visible, near the glass wall. He turned to me slowly. "This," he said. I stared at it. "That's the complaint," I asked before I could stop myself. The slap came fast. So fast, I didn't even see it coming. My head snapped to the side. For a moment, everything went silent. Then I felt the burning pain. "Don't question me," he shouted. My ears rang. My eyes filled with tears, but I refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of him. "I'm sorry, sir," I said quietly. He stepped closer. "If you can't do your job, I will cancel your visa," he said coldly. "You understand?" That word again. Visa. The one thing controlling our lives. "Yes, sir," I replied. "Good. Now clean it again. Properly." As I cleaned that tiny stain, my hands were shaking. Not from fear. From anger. A deep, boiling anger I had never felt before. I kept hearing his words in my head. "I will cancel your visa." That was their weapon. Not just against me. Against all of us. When we returned downstairs, everyone avoided eye contact with me. Except Musa. He walked up slowly. "What happened?" he asked. I forced a smile. "Nothing." He looked at my face, then sighed. "They hit you, didn't they?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Later that afternoon, things got worse. A worker named Ravi collapsed while cleaning the parking area. The heat had drained him completely. We rushed to help him, but the supervisor shouted from a distance, "Leave him. Finish your work first." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "He needs help," I shouted. The supervisor turned to me, his eyes filled with anger. "Do you want to join him?" he asked. That was the moment something inside me broke. Completely. I stood up straight. "No," I said. The word came out stronger than I expected. The entire place went silent. Even Musa looked shocked. "What did you say?" the supervisor asked slowly. I said no, I repeated. "He needs help. We are not animals." A few workers stepped back, creating space between us. They knew this was dangerous. Very dangerous. The supervisor walked toward me, his fists clenched. "You think you have rights here," he said. I didn't respond. Because deep down, I knew the truth. We didn't. He grabbed my shirt. "You want to act like a hero," he said. "I will show you what happens to heroes." My heart pounded, but I didn't look away. For the first time since I arrived in Dubai, I wasn't afraid. Suddenly, security guards appeared. Not to help us, but to control the situation. They pulled me away from the supervisor. "You are in trouble," one of them whispered. That evening, I was called to the office. My hands were sweating as I stood outside the door. Musa walked up to me. "Be careful," he said again. "If anything happens." I paused. He looked at me. "Tell my family I tried," I said quietly. His eyes filled with emotion. "Nothing will happen," he said. But we both knew that wasn't true. Inside the office, the supervisor sat with another man. Someone I had never seen before. He looked more powerful, more dangerous. "Sit," he said. I remained standing. "I prefer to stand," I replied. He smiled slightly. "Brave," he said. "Or foolish?" They asked me questions. Why did I disobey? Why did I argue? Why did I create a scene? I explained everything. Ravi collapsing. The need for help. The way we were treated. For a moment, the room was silent. Then the man leaned back in his chair. "You people always complain," he said calmly. "You come here looking for money, then you start making trouble." His words hit harder than the slap. You people. That was how they saw us. Not as individuals. Not as humans. Just people. "Sir," I said carefully, "we just want fair treatment." He looked at me for a long time. Then he said something that sent chills down my spine. "Your visa is under review." Everything inside me froze. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means," he said slowly, "you might not be here for long." I left the office in silence. The world around me felt different. Heavier. Darker. Musa rushed toward me. "What did they say?" he asked. I looked at him. "My visa." I paused. "It might be cancelled." That night, the room was quieter than usual. No one spoke. No one even looked at me. Because they knew. I had crossed a line. As I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling, one thought kept repeating in my mind. This is how it ends. But deep down, I felt something else. Something stronger than fear. Something dangerous. A decision was forming. A decision that would change everything. The next morning, everything felt off. Not just for me. For everyone. The room was quieter than usual. No one joked. No one even argued over the bathroom like we normally did. It was like an invisible weight had settled on all of us. I noticed something else, too. People were avoiding me. Musa didn't. He sat beside me as I tied my boots. "You didn't sleep, did you?" he asked. I shook my head. "How can I? They said my visa is under review." He sighed deeply. "That's how they start." "What do you mean?" I asked. "They pressure you, break you, then remove you quietly," he said. I swallowed hard. "Or," he added, pausing, "or what? They make an example out of you." Those words stayed with me as we headed to work. I could feel eyes on me. Not from the supervisors. From the workers. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was something else. Something I couldn't fully understand yet. At the site, the supervisor didn't say a word to me. That alone was suspicious. Instead, he gave instructions to everyone else and completely ignored me, as if I didn't exist. "Daniel," Musa whispered, "be careful today." "I'm always careful," I replied. He looked at me seriously. "No, today is different." Hours passed slowly. Too slowly. I was assigned to clean storage areas, isolated spaces far from everyone else. No cameras. No supervisors. Just silence. At first, I thought it was punishment. But then, something happened. I was cleaning behind a stack of boxes when I heard voices. 2 men. Whispering. I moved closer quietly. "He already caused trouble," one voice said. "He won't last long anyway," the other replied. "But we need to make sure." My heart started racing. They were talking about me. "Did you put it in his bag?" the first voice asked. "Yes," the second replied. "Good. When they find it, he's finished." I froze. My mind went blank. Put what in my bag? Footsteps. They were coming closer. I quickly moved back and pretended to clean. 2 workers walked past me. One of them was Ravi. The same Ravi who had collapsed yesterday. The same Ravi I stood up for. Our eyes met for a brief second. He quickly looked away. That was when it hit me. Betrayal. My hands started shaking. I dropped the cloth I was holding. What did they put in my bag? Why? How far were they willing to go? I didn't wait. I rushed to the locker area. My heart was pounding so loudly, I could barely hear anything else. I opened my locker quickly. My bag was there. exactly where I left it. Slowly, I unzipped it. Inside, everything looked normal. My clothes, my small savings, my documents. Then I saw it. A small package, wrapped tightly. Not mine. My hands trembled as I picked it up. I didn't need to open it to know. This was trouble. Big trouble. Before I could think, a loud voice echoed behind me. Daniel. I turned slowly. The supervisor stood there, with 2 security guards. What is that? He asked, pointing at the package in my hand. I don't know, I said honestly. He laughed coldly. You expect me to believe that? I swear it's not mine, I said. But even as I spoke, I knew how it sounded. Open it, he ordered. My heart nearly stopped. I didn't. Open it, he shouted. With shaking hands, I tore the package open. Inside were expensive items. Small electronics. Things we were strictly forbidden to take. Things that had recently gone missing from the building. The room went silent. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. This is not mine, I said again, my voice weaker now. The supervisor smiled. Of course it's not, he said sarcastically. I've been set up, I said desperately. By who? He asked. I looked around. Workers had gathered, watching, silent. I searched for Ravi. He was there, standing at the back, avoiding my eyes. Tell them. I shouted at him. Tell them the truth. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even look at me. That silence hurt more than anything, more than the slap, more than the threats, because it confirmed everything. Take him, the supervisor ordered. The security guards grabbed me. I struggled. I didn't do this. I shouted. No one is listening to you, one guard whispered. As they dragged me away, I looked back one last time. At the workers. At Musa. At Ravi. Musa looked devastated. Ravi looked empty. They took me to a small holding room. Cold. Empty. Silent. They locked the door behind me. For the first time since I arrived in Dubai, I felt completely alone. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. I couldn't tell. My mind kept replaying everything. The voices. The package. Ravi. Why would he do this? I helped him. I stood up for him. And this was how he repaid me. The door opened suddenly. The same man from the office walked in. Calm. Composed. Dangerous. You've caused a lot of trouble, he said. I didn't steal anything, I replied firmly. He nodded slowly. Maybe you didn't. Hope flickered inside me. But it doesn't matter, he added. My heart sank. What do you mean? I asked. He leaned closer. It means, we don't need the truth, he said quietly. We need control. Those words hit me like a storm. This was never about justice. It was about power. So what happens now? I asked. He smiled slightly. That depends on you. I stared at him. What do you want? I asked. Simple, he said. Sign a statement. What kind of statement? That you stole those items. I felt anger rise inside me again. I will not sign a lie, I said. His smile disappeared. Think carefully, he said. If you don't sign, this becomes a police case. My chest tightened. Police. In a foreign country? Without a passport. And if I sign? I asked quietly. You lose your job. Your visa is cancelled. You go home, he said. 2 choices. Both bad. One destroys my name. The other could destroy my life. He stood up. I'll give you time, he said. As he reached the door, he stopped. Oh, and one more thing. I looked at him. Your friend, he said. The one you defended yesterday. My heart skipped. What about him? I asked. He gave us the information. Silence. Heavy. Painful. Final. Ravi didn't just betray me. He delivered me. The door closed. And just like that, everything changed. That night, sitting alone in that cold room, I realized something. I was no longer fighting for a job, or a visa, or even survival. I was fighting for my truth, my dignity, my freedom. And for the first time since I came to Dubai, I started thinking about escape. The room was silent. Too silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the kind that presses against your chest and makes it hard to breathe. I sat on the cold bench, staring at the floor, replaying everything over and over again. Ravi's face. The package. The accusation. The choice they gave me. Confess to a crime I didn't commit, or face something worse. Time felt meaningless in that room. There were no windows. No clocks. Just four walls and a single flickering light above me. I didn't know if it had been hours, or an entire day. All I knew was this. I was trapped. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. Coming toward the door. My body tensed immediately. The door opened slightly. Not fully. Just enough. A man stepped in quietly. He wore a security uniform. But his face was different. Not cold like the others. Not harsh. There was something human in his eyes. "Daniel," he whispered. My heart skipped. "Yes," I replied cautiously. "Keep your voice down," he said, closing the door gently behind him. I stood up slowly. "Who are you?" I asked. "My name is Kareem," he said. "I work here." I studied him carefully. "Why are you here?" I asked. He hesitated. Then he said something I didn't expect. "I know you didn't do it." For a moment, I couldn't speak. No one had said that to me since this nightmare began. "How do you know?" I asked. He looked toward the door, then back at me. "Because I saw them," he said quietly. My chest tightened. "Who?" I asked. "The ones who planted the items in your bag," he replied. "And the one who told them to do it." My fists clenched. "Ravi," I said. Kareem nodded slowly. "But he wasn't the one in charge," he added. "There's someone else behind this." My mind raced. "Why?" I asked. "Why would they do this to me?" Kareem took a deep breath. "Because you spoke up," he said. "You challenged them. You refused to stay silent." The truth hit me like a wave. This wasn't random. This was punishment. "They want to make an example out of you," Kareem continued. "To scare the others. To remind everyone what happens when someone resists." I sat back down slowly. "So what do I do?" I asked. He stepped closer. "You don't sign that statement," he said firmly. I looked at him, confused. "If I don't sign, they said it will go to the police." "I know," he replied. "And that's exactly what they want." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "They want a case," he said. "Because once it becomes official, you lose control completely." A chill ran down my spine. "So I'm trapped either way?" I asked. He shook his head. "No," he said. "There's another way." Hope flickered again. "What way?" I asked. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A key card. I stared at it. "This gives access to the service exit," he said. My eyes widened. "You mean, escape?" I asked. He nodded. "Tonight." My heart started pounding again. This time, not from fear. From possibility. "Why are you helping me?" I asked. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said something simple. "Because I've seen too many people lose everything here." His voice carried weight. pain, experience. I couldn't help them, he continued. But maybe I can help you. I swallowed hard. If they catch me, I said. They won't, he replied. But his eyes told a different story. What about my passport? I asked. He hesitated. That I couldn't get, he admitted. My hope dropped slightly. So how do I leave without it? I asked. There are ways, he said. Not easy, not safe, but possible. My mind raced again. This was bigger than I imagined. Escape without documents. That wasn't just risky. It was dangerous. You have to decide, Karim said. Stay, and fight a system that's already against you. Or leave, and risk everything for freedom. Silence filled the room again. But this time, it was different. It wasn't heavy. It was waiting. I thought about my family. I thought about my dreams. I thought about everything I had endured. And then I thought about one thing. If I stayed, would I ever truly be free? I looked up at him. When? I asked. Midnight, he said. There will be a shift change. Less security. Less attention. My heart beat faster. What do I do? I asked. He stepped closer and spoke quickly. When I come back, I'll unlock this door. We move fast. No talking. Follow me exactly. I nodded. If anything goes wrong, he paused. I looked at him. Don't stop running. Those words settled deep inside me. He turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing, he said. I waited. Trust no one else, he added. The door opened, then closed. And just like that, I was alone again. But everything had changed. Midnight. That was my chance. As I sat there, waiting, my mind was racing. Fear, hope, doubt, courage, all fighting inside me. Then one final thought rose above everything else. This is my only way out. And for the first time since I arrived in Dubai, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom. Close enough to touch. Midnight came slowly. Every second felt like a test of my patience and my courage. I sat in the darkness, listening to my own heartbeat. Loud, uneven, alive. This was it. No second chances. No backup plan. Just one risky path. Between freedom and destruction. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Soft. Measured. Coming closer. The door clicked. Slowly. It opened. Karim stepped in. Now, he whispered. I stood up immediately. No hesitation. No fear. Only movement. We stepped into the hallway. Dim lights flickered above us, casting long shadows across the walls. Every corner looked like it was hiding something. Every sound felt louder than it should be. Stay close, Karim said quietly. I nodded. We moved fast. Left turn. Right turn. Down a narrow corridor. Through a service door. Everything was happening exactly as he said. Then suddenly, voices. We froze. Two guards stood at the end of the hallway, talking. Karim raised his hand slightly, signaling me to stop. My breathing slowed. My body went still. Wait here, he whispered. Before I could respond, he walked forward calmly, as if nothing was wrong. I watched from the shadows. Everything okay? One guard asked him. Yes, Karim replied casually. Just checking the locks. The guards nodded. After a few seconds, they walked away. Karim looked back at me. Come, he said softly. We moved again. Faster this time. Closer to the exit. I could feel it. Freedom was near. Then it happened. Stop. The voice echoed like thunder. We both froze. Slowly, I turned around. and my heart dropped. Rovi. He stood there, breathing heavily, eyes locked on me. Behind him, the supervisor and 2 security guards. Kareem whispered under his breath. "No, this is as far as you go," the supervisor said coldly. Silence filled the corridor. Heavy, deadly. I looked at Rovi. "Why?" I asked. My voice wasn't angry. It was broken. He swallowed hard. "I had no choice," he said. "There is always a choice," I replied. His eyes dropped. "They threatened me," he said quietly. "My visa, my family, everything." Pain twisted inside my chest. I understood him. But it didn't change what he had done. "You sold me to save yourself," I said. He didn't respond. Because he couldn't. The supervisor stepped forward. "Enough drama," he said. He looked at Kareem. "And you," he added. "I didn't expect this from you." Kareem didn't move, didn't speak. But I could see it in his eyes. He knew. This was the end of his job. Maybe worse. "Take them," the supervisor ordered. The guards stepped forward. And in that moment, everything slowed down. This was it. The final line. I looked at Kareem. He looked at me. No words. Just understanding. Then suddenly, "Run!" he shouted. Before anyone could react, he pushed one of the guards aside. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I ran. Footsteps exploded behind me. Shouts filled the air. "Catch him!" My heart pounded like a drum. My legs burned. But I didn't stop. Left. Right. Straight ahead. I could hear them getting closer. Then I saw it. The exit. A metal door. Slightly open. Hope surged through me. But just as I reached it, a hand grabbed my shirt. I stumbled. Almost fell. It was Rovi. "Don't do this," he shouted. I turned sharply. Adrenaline took over. "Let me go," I yelled. He hesitated. Just for a second. And in that second, I broke free. I pushed the door open and ran into the night. The cool air hit my face like freedom itself. Behind me, chaos. Shouting. Running. Anger. But I didn't look back. I ran. And ran. And ran. Until the lights of that place disappeared behind me. Hours later, I found myself sitting alone. Somewhere far. Somewhere quiet. My body was exhausted. My mind was overwhelmed. But my heart was free. I didn't have my passport. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know what tomorrow would look like. But I had something more important. Myself. Days later, with the help of people I never expected, I found a way out. A difficult way. A dangerous way. But a way. And when I finally left that country, I didn't look back. Because some places, no matter how beautiful they look, are not meant to hold your soul. Why I left Dubai. Dubai is known for its secrecy. You only see what they want you to see. The beauty, the luxury, the success. But behind it, there are stories like mine. Stories of silence. Stories of fear. Stories of survival. Employers taking passports. Low wages for hard labor. Poor living conditions. Unfair treatment. Racism hidden in plain sight. And when decisions are made, thousands suffer. Families break. Dreams collapse. I didn't leave because I was weak. I left because I chose my freedom over illusion. If this story touched you, if it opened your eyes, if you believe these stories deserve to be heard, backhand index pointing right, please like this video, backhand index pointing right, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth, backhand index pointing right, and subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam for more powerful, real-life inspired stories. Because sometimes, The stories we don't see are the ones that matter the most.